Good afternoon, this is Cindy Clark from PAC-B TV, and I have with me here today Mark Berger from the Onondaga County Soil and Water Conservation District. That was a mouthful. And Mark is here to tell us today, he's going to talk about the water chestnuts, because being in Beeville, this is a big issue because it's a water community. You have a lot of boaters, you have a lot of people that live on the water, and these water chestnuts, from my understanding, are extremely invasive and potentially dangerous too if you get caught up in them. But Mark is going to tell us about water chestnuts. Okay, Mark.
Thank you, Cindy. We've been working with Onondaga County for the last 7 years on the water chestnut management program. Before that, Dr. Russell Nemasak at County Office of Environmental Health had started this whole program and operated it for many years before his retirement. And our program really spans from the western side of Onondaga County at Cross Lake, goes through the Seneca River system, catches the outlet of Onondaga Lake, back through the Seneca River system up here to Three Rivers. We work Three Rivers to Phoenix with our partners at Oswego County Soil and Water Conservation District, and we work eastward along the Oneida River as well. This year, so far, we've pulled out through hand pulling and mechanical harvesting. These are pictures of mechanical harvesters that we're using in the river system. Over 100 tons of material, and that number is probably going to go up by another 50 tons because of some emergency work we're doing on the western side of the county. This plant is extremely invasive. It came to America in the 1870s, was first found in the Great Lakes system in the 1950s, and it's just flourished from there. One seed can produce 300 new plants the following year, so we're really working against an amazing aquatic invasive species, and it's showing all the signs that it wants to win amongst all of our efforts. Our efforts include hand pulling, mechanical harvesting, and chemical treatment. Chemical treatments from Three Rivers to Phoenix. With Oswego County Soil and Water Conservation District, mechanical harvesting is in large areas like South Bay on Cross Lake, and then hand pulling is meant to grab these small patches that you see here floating up against the dock.
Now, why don't you show us a plant here too? Do you have a plant that you can show us what it looks like close up?
I sure do. We have one plant growing over here, and I'm going to hand you the mic.
Okay.
And I'll do some pulling. So we're going to just start slowly pulling this plant up. These are the rosettes of the plants, and you can see.
Look at the roots.
We have multiple stems growing from one plant. We're going to get that all up, and we're going to pull gently. And we did not have success getting the seed out. This is one seed. One seed can produce up to 15 stems. Each stem can produce a rosette having 15 to 20 seeds. So next year, on the average, this one seed can produce 300 new plants, and that's how this aquatic invasive species is so prevalent in our waterway systems here in central New York. This is spread throughout all of New York State, and it takes everybody's efforts. It's going to take the homeowner pulling the plant as soon as they see it out in front of their house. It's going to take our team of hand pullers pulling the remote patches along the river system. It's going to take the mechanical harvest boats pulling out the 50-acre patches that are growing in areas like South Bay on Cross Lake. And it's also going to take chemical treatment, and we work with the Oswego County Soil and Water Conservation District. They have a great program up there. They're spraying the chestnuts on both the Oswego and the Onondaga side. For that stretch of the river system. We also work with Cayuga County Soil and Water Conservation District. Their boat's going to be out in Cross Lake any day now, catching floating mats that have broken loose during storm events that we had last week, and are trying to push into into the Cross Lake system and can ultimately flow down through the river system here in Baldwinsville. One of the other big concerns is the locks we have down here behind me. These chestnuts can entangle the locks, they can entangle the navigational devices on the river, and it just creates multiple hazards for people. Swimmers can get entangled in this material, boats can get stuck in this material. It's very problematic. We are very grateful for the funding that has come exclusively from Onondaga County to support our efforts, but I really want people to know it's just not our efforts. Everybody has a hand. If you live on the water and this is growing in front of your property, you need to get out there and pull it. If you need a place to dispose of it, give us a call. We work with local farmers and we apply this material just like you would manure to their soil. There's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium and calcium in this plant. When it decomposes, there's organic matter, and that all helps to enrich agricultural soil health. So we couldn't do this project without our farmers. They save us tens of thousands of dollars because if we're pulling it on the river, we can land apply it close by on their agricultural fields. We're working with Emmy's fruit and vegetable farm here in Baldwinsville, and we're working with Horrigan's Gemini Dairy Farm over in Jack's Reef, and without these farmers' participation, we wouldn't have a program. So we're very grateful for their support as well.
Very good. Now, is there any redeeming factor about this other than it's just a weed?
I can't tell you one redeeming factor. People don't eat these. These are the horn chestnuts. They're not the edible chestnuts. So there's, in our opinion, there's no redeeming qualities of this plant. It needs to be extracted from the waterways. It needs to be land applied on agricultural soils, and we need to keep the pressure on year after year.
That's sharp too. I could see where that could hurt if you got in the water.
Yeah, you get the thorn embedded under your skin. It'll give you an infection, and it's really darn problematic.
Wow, this is incredible. Well, now we can see it. This is more of it coming in here? Is this a breakaway, what you call a breakaway, or?
Some of it appears to have broken away, and some of it has been growing here. So before I leave today, I'm going to reach in there to the best of my ability and pull this material up. There's probably 500 wet pounds of plant right here. We're going to get that pulled up. I'm going to take it over to Emmy's farm field, and we'll be able to land apply that just as we would an agricultural manure, a livestock manure, and it'll have the same benefits for soil health.
Now, it's just the funding for this is exclusively from Onondaga County?
Exclusively through Onondaga County. And there are no other grant sources out there to be able to fund projects like this at this time. So we're very grateful for the support of the county executive and the legislature and my board of directors at the Onondaga County Soil and Water Conservation District. Without their support and without the staff that's on the payroll at Soil and Water, we wouldn't even be able to begin to touch this problem.
Well, how long has this been? Did you say it's been a problem in this area?
Decades.
Really? It's been
Yes.
that long?
Yes.
I know I've seen it, you see it, but you don't really think too much about it. And then you hear, because this is a boating area, and you hear people talking about it, that it's, they try to get on their docks, and it's everywhere by their docks. But I think it's a great program that they come and they get rid of this stuff. But unfortunately, it's going to be a never-ending battle, right?
It is. There's no end in sight. Like I said, it's going to take everybody's efforts, and the last thing we want people to do is to drag the material out into the center of the river and let it flow downstream to become somebody else's problem. We need to deal with this at its source, right where it's growing.
So if it's in your yard, if you can, or in your water, in your front yard, take it out.
Absolutely, and this is no different than living at your residence. You have to mow your own lawn, you have to move your own snow in the winter. This is the same situation with this aquatic invasive species growing in front of your property.
Okay. And when you said how many tons did you say that they got?
We've already extracted, as of yesterday, 100 tons of material this year throughout the project, and I'm estimating another 50 tons yet to be removed in the next 2 weeks. We had a huge mat of material break away in South Bay on Cross Lake. It impacted Stevens Road, Eno Point, and Jack's Reef, and we've gone into cleanup and collection mode trying to get that material recovered. For instance, one of the big struggles is the fire department boat at Jack's Reef. It can get on the water, but it can't get out in either direction because there's such a dense mass. So that's why it's so important that we get this material rounded up this fall. And like I was saying, each plant, each seed will create 300 new plants next year. If we can get this material pulled out and get it out on the farmers' fields, it's going to help our efforts for next year. It's going to help everybody's efforts.
Now, how long do they go typically with the machine? How long do they keep going this year?
We like to be done in the end of August, the very first week of September at the latest, but because of the circumstances beyond our control, we're probably going to go into the second or third week of September this year. Before the plant totally decays and falls to the bottom and becomes next year's seed source.
Oh, I can see what you're saying there. Well, I certainly do appreciate you coming and talking to us, Mark, because like I say, being a water community here and a boating, it's very informative to the residents here. And like you said, if you've got something in your front yard, try to get rid of it if you can. He can take it from your home or arrange to take it from your home to a farm, to Emmy's Farms or Horrigan's, depending on where you're living. But it's a community thing. We all have to work on this to help keep this situation at least under control. It will never go away, from what I understand,
Correct.
But at least to keep it under control for now, and until something comes along that really can eradicate it, this is how we have to handle it.
It is, and a few new things we're going to bring out for next year is we want to have, so when a community wants to have a hand pull, they can give us a call. We can bring a dump trailer out and put the dump trailer right at their location so that they can fill it up over the weekend. We take it away on Monday morning, apply the material to the farmers' fields. We found over 164 local landscape contractors that exist within our Central New York region. We are going to be sending them a letter in the next couple weeks asking them if this is a service, an additional service that they'd like to provide to homeowners for a fee, because we've had a lot of elderly folks call us and say, hey, I want to manage my chestnuts in front of my property. I physically can't do it. Is there somebody I can hire? So we're going to generate a list of those landscape companies, put it on our website, have a paper copy available to mail out to the public residents, and let them know who is willing to do this type of work for a fee, and hopefully that's going to help us get another 100 tons of material next year.
Okay, well, why don't you give us your website so if people have questions, they can go there and get some answers, get some contact information, or whatever the case might be.
Our website is www.ocswcd.org. That's Onondaga County Soil and Water Conservation District.org.
Well, very good.
Thank
Mark,
you.
Thank you again. I appreciate you coming in today and taking the time to spend with us. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you. shouldn't see much here next year.
Good. I'll tell them that too.
That'll be good. And you know, if a community wants to do a hand pull event on a Saturday, we're all in. We'll come with trucks and with people, and like Eno Point has 34 people participate every winter, every August. It's amazing. So
that's a good idea.
So this is what's been applied earlier this summer, and the farmer has tilled it into the field and planted, and this is what you see is a dried up chestnut and all the plant material, the rosette, the stem, etc. that was in it. This is a sandy soil, so this material is going to give organic matter and nutrients to the soil, and it helps to build soil health. It'll help the soil have earthworm and microorganism activity, which means soil enrichment, soil health, and it's really good for our environment. So this is the perfect recycling story. And now we'll move up and we'll unload. You'll actually get to see where they've been unloading.
I'm just gonna walk up.
So the trailer that the boat is sitting on is a self-unloading trailer. So once they put the boat in the water, they'll bring the material over, offload from the boat onto the trailer. And when they bring the trailer out, you can see how they conveyor it off right across the field here. This is fresh material. This is probably from yesterday. And so it's going to take a week to dry down. But the other thing is this really turns into like a dust or a powder. There's 38% moisture in each plant, and so it quickly evaporates. We have a nice hot sunny day on Saturday. It'll be half the height of the pile. Pull ahead. Yeah, so the material you see here in the field in the stripes is material we put down in probably July. You can see with it being 38% moisture, it really dries up, goes down to like a dust-like material. The beautiful part of this whole program is we work with over 350 farms across Onondaga County, and so our good working relationships with those farms, we're able to reach out with them and ask them, hey, you know, would you be interested in this material? It's nutrient rich, it's good organic matter amendment, and it also has calcium in it. And so our farmers have said, yeah, absolutely, we'd be interested. And that's how we save anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 a year on cost for managing this material. If we had to travel 20, 30 miles one way to take this to an approved composting facility, it would really eat into our budget, and it would really reduce the time and the effectiveness of the harvester out on the water. So by being able to only come up a couple miles up the road to apply this material to the soil, it's benefiting the farms, it's saving the project money, and we're able to get even more work done. So it's a real win-win situation. We work very closely with the New York State DEC, the New York State Canal Corporation, the New York State DOT, Onondaga County Highway. All those partners help to pull this project together to make it the success that it is. And it's hard to believe, but this is going to help grow next year's strawberry crops or sweet corn or something like that. So we're thinking water chestnuts this year. Next year I'm thinking good local fresh food produced by our farmers. The state has a program called Agricultural Environmental Management, and that's really been how we've built the relationship with the farms. The farms voluntarily participate in this program, and they go through an evaluation. They tell us about the work they're doing, tell us about the additional work they want to do. We write plans to incorporate all those goals, and then we go out and seek grant funding to help offset the cost of those projects for the farmers. It helps to have a healthier environment, better water quality, and it helps to keep our food locally produced by farmers on this land. And the best part is, when we go through our area of central New York, all these beautiful vistas are because of the farms. If those farms weren't here and this was nothing but trees, we wouldn't have the beauty that we have here in central New York and the Finger Lakes region. This is Central New York Aquatic Harvesting Company's boat. They're out of Fulton, New York, and we'll talk about the boat a little bit here. It's really an agricultural type application. You've got a sickle bar mower just like the farmers use. You've got this on the bottom of the cutting head. You have it going up the side of the cutting head. And so if this is a mat of chestnuts right here, the boat pushes in, it cuts those stems, the material goes up the conveyor, the water falls through, then it drops onto this bed, and they can move the load further back on the boat until it gets close to this offloading chute. And then they drive the boat when it's full, weighs around 2,000 pounds of material. They'll drive that boat to the shore, and the trailer will be sitting here, and they run this conveyor. The boat will be turned around. They run this conveyor off onto this bed chain. As the boat's unloading, the chestnut comes out on this bed chain. They advance it forward until they get a full trailer load. Then they take this to the farmer's field and gently apply this water chestnut material to the soil. These pontoons are what keeps the boat suspended in the water. Runs off a diesel engine with hydraulics. These are the paddle wheels that go on the side of the boat, and that's what will help advance the boat. They go to these hubs right here. That's what will advance the boat through the water. So it's really a awesome, innovative system, and themselves and Enviro Aquatics out of Hamilton do this work for us here in Onondaga County. The other thing I've got to do is give a shout out to the residents and businesses across the entire river system. Without them allowing us to use their water access, their boat launches, etc., this project also wouldn't be possible. It's really the perfect example of everybody working together to help address this aquatic invasive species. That's a wrap.